welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Happy Wednesday. I hope that your day, if it's already been going, is great and awesome. And if it's just beginning, I do have hope and faith that your day will be great, even if there are some bumpy parts. You know, there might be ups and downs. We all have ups and downs every single day, but I just pray that it will be awesome and as great as we can make it. And just know that if you do encounter some things that, affect your mood, kind of bring the day down, create roadblocks, just take a moment, take a breath, and know that you can push through it if you just believe in it and figure out a good way to problem solve. Ask for help if you need it, but don't give up. That's the key. Do not give up, no matter what. So again, happy Wednesday. This week we are talking about control issues, which is very good for me to talk about out loud because it's been something that I've been struggling with most of my life, but even more so during the self-isolation, quarantine time where it just feels, I feel very out of control with everything of the unknowing and not understanding how long all of these circumstances are going to be, and just feeling out of control and wanting to talk about control issues, especially in case anyone else is dealing with it. So today, Wednesday, I'm going to talk about why you struggle with control issues. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Why you struggle with control issues. So who else is affected when things are outside of your control? And I pose this question to you because it's important to think about how your behavior affects the people that you spend the most time with. So whether that's your kids or your spouse, your partner, your close friends, even the people that you spend the most time with at work, it's important to really think about who else could be affected by your control issues and the way that you react and the way that you treat them, because you feel like things are out of control and you always want them in your control. You want to be able to take over things, and it's just important to think about those people that you could be affecting. And maybe you've never taken the opportunity to think about if anyone else could be affected because you thought that you had it under control. You thought you had everything reined in, thought that it was fine and dandy because you knew what you were doing, when in reality a lot of times we don't see the cracks in our behaviors and how we affect other people. So if you can't see whether you're affecting other people or not, and if you're comfortable with it, I would encourage you to ask, and maybe start with the people that are super, super close with you, like whoever your closest friends are, your family, who you live with, those kind of things. Also, take a deep dive into what emotions come out when you feel out of control. So for me, when I feel out of control and there's a situation, like especially right now with the whole self-isolation thing and having to be home and having to work from home and not being able to enjoy a lot of the activities that my daughter and I and my husband even participate in normally, it makes me feel so much anxiety. It makes me feel a lot of anger, and it makes me feel out of control and just very on edge. And those are the emotions that I would say. But I would feel like the highest one is anxiety, shortly followed by anger, because I have so much anxiety because I am so worried about how things are going to turn out, because whatever's happening is outside of my control. And I'm angry because I don't understand why I can't just jump in and take over so that I can take control and feel like everything is going to be okay. And even if everything is not going to be okay, sometimes we just know that. At least we feel that if we are responsible for what's going to happen, we feel better about it because we're taking everything under our advisement and not someone else's, especially if we don't trust whomever is in charge. So I think it's important to really think about what emotions are coming out when you are feeling out of control. So if you haven't taken any time to think about that, I would encourage you to do that. Write those down. Again, if you don't know, it does not hurt to ask those that are closest to you Just ask them that the last time that you felt like you had a bout of feeling out of control, feeling very anxious and off and not feeling like things are right to you, like what emotions did you exhibit to them and how did that make them feel? That would be a great conversation. A very honest conversation, a lot of times a hard conversation to have with those around us that we keep closest, but a very good conversation to have. Take note throughout the day on what things make you feel out of control when those emotions bubble up. So, and I would highly suggest, as I've said every single day, on paper, your phone notes, even if it's just a voice note, something. You need to have something that you'll be able to look back on, not just like thinking about it out loud or in your mind. Like you even if you have a good memory, which I claim that I have a good memory, you could still forget, or it could be a little bit hazy. And it's easy to see things or listen to it if it's a voice note over and over and over again, if it's somewhere else besides just your brain. So, take note throughout the day on what things make you feel out of control when those emotions bubble up, and spend time journaling about it later. More feelings and reasons may come up when you take more time to think about it. So, a lot of times, if we only take 5 minutes to really think about how we're feeling and how the current situation is affecting us, we might be able to come up with 1 or 2 or 3 maybe reasons if we're really in touch with our emotions and emotionally intelligent and very self-aware. However, if you decide to spend more time, and I would say at least 15 minutes, and you do decide to journal about it or just see what you've written down or what you've recorded, and really just take some time to like think on that and what those words, what those emotions really mean to you. And I just encourage you to spend some time, like I said, at least 15 minutes, really thinking about it, because more feelings and reasons may come up. You might think about more situations and scenarios that have come up where you felt out of control, and how you reacted, and how other people around you reacted, and how they tried to maybe help you, and maybe you pushed them away, or maybe you welcomed it, but only under your circumstances, under your direct advisement. So I would encourage you, it's so important to really do like a self-review, and to be more self-aware as we continue to grow into the person that we're meant to be, because it just helps us to really manage our emotions, which is really important. I'm not saying at all, when I say manage emotions, I'm definitely not saying that you need to hide anything or that you need to hold anything back necessarily, unless it's going to be violent or hurt someone else. But what I'm saying is that you can manage how to appropriately act in every situation in your life. And, if you're going to have like a burst of anger that's super energetic, maybe you can find a way to suppress that and then take it out in a different fashion. So for me, for an example, a lot of times if I'm feeling a lot of stress and anxiety and anger, I will want to work out. I want to go to the gym, which I can't do right now, but in place of that, I'll just do a quick workout, or I'll go outside and take a long walk with the dog because he always calms me, or go for a run because you want to like let out that energy, whatever it is. You want to find an activity to help you release that pent-up energy. But I'm saying just you want to be able to manage your emotions. And generally, at the end of the day, any podcast episode that I have, that is definitely an underlying theme, because I think it's important for all of us to learn how to manage our emotions and become more emotionally intelligent. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Take some notes, take some time to journal about it, or just sit and think on it. Write down anything that comes to mind. Pray about it if you are believe in prayer, and I do, and I think it helps me personally. And just really focus in on what that means to you and how you feel like it's been affecting your life, and if you need to make any changes. And again, if you feel lost in this exercise, I suggest that you find help, you find someone to talk to about it. Maybe they can contribute some feedback about it, and that would be super. That would be super. It'd be really helpful. So I encourage you to do that. Also, careful not to obsess. So when I tell you to spend some time journaling and reviewing your feelings, make sure that you don't obsess, as this will just create more control issues. So if you spend time thinking about an outburst that you had because, you weren't chosen to lead something and you feel like you are the most eligible person to be in charge of that thing and you're not, and so you're feeling out of control, and you go home and you think about it and you think about maybe you shouldn't have had that outburst or shouldn't have had that reaction when you found out that it wasn't going to be you in charge and you had to release a little bit of control over that situation, especially when you had already built it up in your mind that you were going to be in charge of that situation. I get that. I've been there many times. But what I'm saying is when you go home to reflect on that later, at any point in time in the future, even if it's on your car ride home or whatever it is, I encourage you not to obsess over it so much so that it drives you crazy, because that's definitely a bad habit of mine, where I want to spend some time reflecting on what happened and how I could do it better in the future, but then I obsess about it and I think about it all the time, and I think about how I could have done it like 12 different other ways and what I think the outcome would be for that, and do I think any of those ways are better, and rank those ways in the order of how I should have done it, and this, that, and the other, and talk to other people about it endlessly. Even me saying all of that sounds so exhausting. So obsessing over it's not going to help. It's going to make the problem worse. You want to definitely set a boundary, set an end time. So that's why I say 15 minutes. Just set a timer, 15 minutes. Think about it. When you come to the end of 15 minutes, even if you feel like you haven't accomplished as much as you had hoped, just end it right there and come back to it another time, like the next day, when your mind has been refreshed, you've had more time to step away from it and have a clearer mind when you go and examine it again, if you need to, or just be done. And that's why I encourage journaling, because then you can review it maybe a week or two later because you've written some notes. And I'm not saying journaling means you have to write pages and pages. No, you can just write like a quick little list of notes and ideas that come to you, and then you can review it a week or two later. And then maybe you can get more clarity. You can gain more knowledge into what's going on in your mind, what's triggering you, and that can really just help you along your way to have a tighter grasp and a more managed, a higher ability to manage your emotions. I don't know why I was struggling with that whole little section, but I was, and I'm not going to cut it out because, I'm real here. Okay, so I feel like I beat that down enough. And again, why you struggle with your control issues, you really need to take the time to evaluate what's going on, how you reacted, how can you fix it in the future, get help if you need it. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. I really, really, really hope that this helps someone, anyone, even if it's one person. It doesn't matter. I'm not looking for fame and fortune. I'm just looking to help people. So I hope this really helped you. Again, happy Wednesday. I can't wait to see you for tomorrow's episode on Thursday. Have a good one, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.